So before we get into this video, please make sure to leave a like for this duck. Hi, Michelle here from VetMedics, and we are a veterinary ambulance service. We are not a hospital. I am not a veterinarian, but I am a licensed veterinary technician. What we are not able to do is diagnose, prescribe, prognose, or perform surgery, but we can offer medical treatment under the supervision of a veterinarian. And today I have a fellow licensed veterinary technician in the state of New York, Kim, who happens to be one of my very bestest friends. We've grown up together and we do the same sort of work. However, she works as a claims adjuster for a pet insurance company. So today we are going to be discussing pet insurance and why you should have it, or maybe why not. So hi, Kim.
Hey,
thanks
there.
for coming.
Thanks
Cheers.
for having me. Cheers.
Yes.
Oh, look, our notes are flying.
Yeah. So today we are going to discuss pet insurance. It's a pretty well-known thing to have if you are a pet owner. And today we're going to just touch on a couple of topics and what pet insurance is all about, what basic coverages you can get and the benefits to it, and maybe why it would not work for you. So go ahead, Kim.
So basically, pet insurance came about to help eliminate the need for financial euthanasia. Your, 1-year-old, well, hopefully not 1-year-old, but say 2 to 5-year-old German Shepherd in the middle of the night bloats. You could end up with a $10,000 bill in reality. I see them all the time.
Yeah.
A lot of people, myself included, I don't have that money. I don't have it to put out.
Nor do I.
I have children in college. So
Right.
Unfortunately, a lot of times, and you've seen it and I've seen it as well, that pet gets euthanized.
Right.
So to help with that happening, companies have come up with pet insurance to help with accident and illness for that situation.
Right. Say you're becoming a new pet owner and you get a purebred puppy, a dachshund, Boston Terrier, French Bulldogs,
Frenchie.
English Bulldogs, a larger breed like a Rottweiler, Labrador. Each breed comes with its own problems, genetic issues, if you will. Same goes with cats. Many different cat breeds. They all have some issues, skin issues, ragdolls, cardiac disease, things like that. So really, if you're in the market for either rescuing a purebred or purchasing one from a reputable breeder, you kind of want to do some research on it and see what health problems may come with that. Very expensive. So I would hope that most owners would maybe look into pet insurance, and how does it benefit them?
Yes, and also what kind of coverage each plan has.
Right.
They're basically all the same in that they will not cover any pre-existing conditions. So that's basically above
Like our
board
health
for all of
insurance,
them.
pretty much.
If your pet had diabetes, say you rolled your 6-year-old cat that had diabetes is not going to be covered. That insulin, those needles, likely cataracts later on, that's not going to be covered at all.
Ah, okay.
So that's an important thing, to know. And that's basically how they work across board. Some of them, the differences in them, and a big thing to consider when you're, spending money on a specific breed is congenital coverage. Is that brachycephalic breed, is that congenital coverage? Is that going to be covered? Say, a year down the line, your Frenchie needs stenotic nares or a larynx resection or palate resection.
Yeah, all these little
toy breeds.
and
some of them that
faces.
have congenital coverage that could be eligible. Some companies that is excluded. So that's an important thing to look into.
Okay. So say if you get a new puppy or a kitten and you want some wellness care, because in the beginning you're bringing your puppy or kitten in for routine vaccines. They have to go in every month for the first couple of months, and that can be costly. Then we're talking into spaying and neutering. So do they offer different levels of coverage for wellness care?
Some companies do. Yeah,
Okay.
some companies do offer a wellness package on top of the accident and illness. That's usually an additional charge to that.
Okay.
And some companies do not offer I know Healthy Pet does not offer wellness packages, and neither does Trupanion. SPCA does, and I believe so does Pets Best.
Right.
But again, those are on top of the accident and wellness or accident and illness coverage,
right?
Not not as in the same charge,
right? And again, we're not here to, you know, help you decide what company. We're not, you know, on one company side as of the others. It's up to you to really do the research and see what works best for you. Like Kim was saying, they do offer lots of different packages, levels of care, price differences. So that's up to you to really do your DD on that and figure out what works best for you. Yeah.
Another change that you'll see a lot in coverage is your deductible. How much the deductible is. Some companies have a single deductible, and that's your deductible. Some companies will offer a range of deductibles, which will change your premium. So if you want a lower premium, you go with a higher deductible. A deductible is what you pay out before insurance starts paying it.
Kind of like car insurance when you have an accident.
Exactly. The higher your deductible, the more you're going to pay out, so the less you're going to be charged per month.
Yep.
The lower your deductible, the more the company is going to pay out, so your premium is going to be higher. Some deductibles are annual. So every year you're going to have a $250 deductible. Some companies have a deductible that's per condition, meaning your diabetic dog is going to have one deductible for the lifetime of that pet. So in some instances, that may be a better choice.
Sure.
You know, I look into veterinary medicine, and I think, pet usually has about 4 to 5 illnesses and injuries in its lifetime. So that in that company would only be 4 to 5 deductibles that you would pay.
Right.
As opposed to an annual deductible where you would pay it every year.
So that's an interesting point. Is that like a national average they've figured out, like 4 to 5 emergencies?
Yeah.
Really?
4 to 5
I didn't know.
Illnesses and emergencies per year.
Okay.
And it's rough. Some of them have 7 or 8 and some of them have none.
Right.
Or 1.
Right.
You know, so it's an average and how they figured it out.
Okay. So do some companies just, you know, talking about some specialty breeds, like in cats, the Ragdolls, Abyssinians, Sphinx, with dogs, you know, Rottweilers, French Bulldogs, English Bulldogs. Are there, like, do some of the companies maybe have a higher rate for these more specialty breeds because they are more prone to health issues, or?
And some do. Okay. Some do have different rates for different breeds. Usually, yes. Good to know. I think they pretty much all do. An effect in your premium would be your breed, where you live in the country will fall in on your premium, because of course it's going to be more expensive to go to the veterinarian in Manhattan than it is, say, in Topeka, Kansas. So those two premiums would fall under. The age that your dog is at enrollment will also change
that's
your premium.
Yep. Okay.
So a younger dog is likely
kind of like life insurance almost.
Yeah, exactly. So your age at enrollment is going to be another factor. Okay. So those are probably your 3 biggest factors. Spay and neuter status. Some policies it will affect. Some policies it does not. Okay. So most will cover that. I mean, you have to elect. Does that like fall under? No, that would fall under wellness.
Okay.
Unless it is you have an injury to the reproductive organ. Okay. Then it may fall under an illness coverage. Okay. But a routine spay and neuter would be under a preventative, and most of them, unless you have the added wellness package, would not cover that.
So I have a question, being that we do emergency transport, as we're an ambulance company. So a lot of pet owners will submit the bill to their pet insurance company. Most do not cover the transport aspect of it. However, any type of medical treatment given within the vehicle during transport is covered.
Yes, and that's
so
common.
Why is that, I guess? Why?
Transport would fall under a boarding exclusion. Similar to a boarding exclusion, is how that would be looked at under most of them. But again, that would be per policy. Okay. I did look, and the policies that I looked at, I went under the 5 most popular ones. None of them, they all had the transport exclusion, which would be. But again, any treatment, as long as it was ordered by the veterinarian, would likely, if it was an eligible condition, would be covered. And I have to say, what happens inside the vehicle ends up being the most expensive part of the transport. So if you have pet insurance, most of it's going to get covered. Case in point, last week VetMedics transferred a 5-year-old, I believe she was 5 years old, a German Shepherd purebred with IVDD, otherwise known as
intervertebral disc disease. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. We can go into exactly what that is. Anyway, the dog needed surgery, and the client elected to share with us the financial information on the case. When all said and done, ended up being just over $22,000. And that was, I think, a 7 or 8 day stay in a hospital.
I've seen that, yeah.
So my question is, you know, obviously you want to get insurance way before IBDD doesn't really happen as you're getting a puppy or kitten. So you want it beforehand. What is the benefits to having pet insurance in a case like this? And what are the payouts, I guess, or how does the payout work?
Well, the best benefit is, you know, it's always to get your pet insured right off the bat.
Right.
At its first appointment. Get it there, get it to the veterinarian when it's nice and healthy, and it will have no pre-policy history. It'll have no pre-policy symptoms for us to exclude. So that, you know, above all, is your best bet. You know, as they get older, the more they'll have clinical signs that could be, you know, symptomatic of it. So say that, you know, was eligible and the dog had no pre-policy symptoms. It would depend on what their, so it was a $22,000 bill and they had a $500 deductible. And it was a company that didn't have payout limits, and their chosen payout percentage is 90%. So after their $500 deductible, the company would then pay out 95% of the remaining bill. So that's a significant thing. That takes you from saying, I can't afford to take care of my pet, to I can do this. I can put the rest of this on a credit card and pay it off.
This 5-year-old dog could have been euthanized.
Yes, exactly. I can help my pet.
Because of not being able to afford. Wow.
And that brings you into a discussion of payout limits. Some companies have annual payout limits. Some companies also have a change of payout limits, which will also affect your premium. Okay. So you can choose to have an unlimited payout, or you can choose to have a $10,000 payout at the end of the year. And what that means is the company will pay up to your payout, your chosen payout limit, or their company preset payout limit, and then anything over and above that is again your responsibility.
Okay. I'm learning a lot here.
Looking into these big, like I told Michelle earlier, I pay a $10,000, at least a $10,000 claim once a week. So
a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, yeah. So it's not unheard of to have $25,000 claim bills coming in. You know, an exploratory surgery for your puppy that ate a tennis ball, nowadays that's $5,000. You know, so you have a puppy that's got, you know, just had exploratory surgery, that's $5,000 right there. So that's going towards your payout limit. Then say this poor puppy goes out and gets hit by a car later during that year, which it happens. So now you could have another $5,000 bill. Well, that's your payout limit. So that's a really big thing. I would lean towards the companies that don't have those payout limits. Okay. Unless it means you can afford the insurance versus you can't afford the insurance. But
so being that you see tons of claims come through on a daily basis, what are the most common breeds that you see? I'm sure you guys can guess a pretty good handful of ones, but
Frenchies. I see
French bulldogs.
Frenchies without a doubt. We have, and that may be because they have a lot of problems, and B, people insure them more.
They're so cute. How do you resist a Frenchie?
I want my tulip.
Oh it looks like a oversized Chihuahua.
I'm gonna get my tulip.
But yes, if you consider having a French bulldog or an English bulldog,
I think it's
get pet insurance.
That's definitely a necessity with the Frenchie, because on top of their congenital problems, they're naughty little buggers. They get in a lot of trouble.
But they're so much fun. But what are the most common issues, I guess, that you see come through with French bulldogs? Claims?
Skin and brachycephalic airway syndrome. Yep. Those are the two most common.
Brachycephalic means that these breeds have an elongated, soft palate, and their snouts and their little faces are kind of pushed back in. So, you know, the flat nose faces, big cheeks, and they're snorting and don't handle heat well. We see a lot of heat stroke issues and breathing issues.
They often require surgery to open their nose passages and to resect that soft palate to help them breathe. It's pretty common nowadays.
So you're saying exploratory surgery. Here's just a little fun thing.
I see
what is the most common breed that you see come through with exploratory surgery for dogs and cats? But cats are a whole different breed, obviously. But What do you like? What's the most common breed that you see?
A doodle.
A doodle.
A doodle.
Golden doodle. Labradoodle. Goofballs.
Goliath doodles.
Goliath
doodles. Whoever thought of a Goliath doodle?
That is
a Saint Bernard mixed with the Berner mixed with the
Bernese
doodle.
Mountain Dog.
So you've got a big giant Saint Bernard that's itchy and needs to be groomed. That was a bad idea.
So we discussed all the benefits to having pet insurance, but there may be some cases or instances where it may not be beneficial. My thinking is, what if you are adopting a senior dog, just kind of helping it live out its last few months or maybe year or two?
Well, probably not adopting one, because then if you're adopting it, it doesn't have pre-policy history. So if you sign up, if you want to adopt a senior dog, that's great. Get your insurance policy the first day that you go to the veterinarian, and you should be pretty covered. Well, unless they find osteoarthritis and stuff during the exam, so those would not be covered. But say, you know, you had a 8-year-old, 9-year-old dog that's had arthritis, is diabetic, and give me some other kind of disease, has a heart murmur, and you decide you want to look into insurance. That's probably not going to be beneficial to you. Will the insurance company cover you? Most insurance companies will cover pets up until they're 14. So yeah, they'll you know, take a policy. But at that point,
pets are living longer these days.
And they are. But at that point, it probably would not be economically beneficial to you. And a good company should tell you that. You know.
Again, as you get a new puppy or kitten, get pet insurance from the get-go. Right off the bat.
Some companies do offer exam days offers where they can start the policy that day and not have waiting periods. So that's something to look into. Oh, waiting periods. We didn't talk about waiting periods. Every company has a waiting period.
So yeah, what is that all about?
That is from the time from when you enroll to when they cover, when your illnesses or injuries are covered. Some of them have the same, say, 14-day for both. Some of them have a 5-day coverage for waiting period for injury and a 10 or 30-day coverage for illness. But it's a period of time after you enroll before your coverage will be covered. And anything that, say, your pet gets sick in that waiting period, that would be considered pre-policy. So anything that occurs to the pet in that time would not be covered as well.
So in closing, I mean, benefits to having pet insurance and when to get it. Obviously, if you're thinking about purchasing or adopting a young pet, look into getting it, right?
Yep. From the day you take it to that first visit, ask if they have any offers, ask who they recommend. There is an excellent website, www.petinsurancequote.com, that they do a really good side of comparative. They compare them side to side analysis. And all your different deductibles and payout coverages right there on the site can give you different quotes from different companies.
What's that website again? www.petinsurancequotes.com.
If you learned something and would like more informative videos, please like this video, subscribe, and comment below.